You chose this.
What's going on, Aurora Alliance, and welcome back to a brand new Star Wars Battlefront 2 video. And in today's video we're going to be going over some official Star Wars Battlefront 2 concept art, which was shown at the Star Wars Celebration Star Wars Battlefront 2 reveal. There was a bit of gameplay shown. I have seen the gameplay footage, but I am not allowed to actually show that footage, unfortunately. But I guess I can actually show these concept art images from Star Wars Battlefront 2 to you guys now. So we're going to be starting off with Yavin. Now Yavin is confirmed for Star Wars Battlefront 2 if you haven't heard it by now. And the first image we actually get looks like it's actually the Rebel base. There's X-Wings there. This could be from the campaign. I'm not sure if this is going to be from the multiplayer section of Star Wars Battlefront, unless the Rebel base on Yavin IV is actually going to be a multiplayer map for Star Wars Battlefront 2. I think Yavin being in Star Wars Battlefront 2 is absolutely fantastic. And the concept art is just absolutely stunning, really. They've done an incredible job, and I would love to see the Rebel base on Yavin actually as a map in Star Wars Battlefront 2. But like I said, it isn't confirmed that it is a map or whether it's from the campaign, so we will have to wait and see what EA has in store for us. There is also a second piece of concept art for Yavin IV. This concept art actually takes us into a bit more of a sort of jungle environment for Star Wars Battlefront 2 on Yavin IV. You can see two Stormtroopers, or three Stormtroopers here. There is just one in the distance further away entering what looks like potentially a temple. And whether this is part of the Rebel base or not, I do not know. There is no sign of rebels anywhere. So this could be, again, from the campaign or the multiplayer. We're not sure which one yet. It's just great to see Yavin actually return to Star Wars Battlefront. Next up, we have a concept art of Bardots. Now, Bardots is the Imperial occupied planet and is also the homeworld of the main character in the Star Wars Battlefront 2 campaign. We don't know whether this big tower in the middle here is really significant to Bardots, or it could just be any old building. It looks like there's actually two statues outside of there. I don't know what they are, but they look similar to the Sentinel droid that we do get to see in the Star Wars Battlefront 2 reveal trailer. They probably aren't, but I'm just saying that's what they look like. The planet Bardots looks absolutely fantastic. I really like the lightning. I like the red colours, the red, white and grey. The red trees as well. I think this planet's going to be great to play on, and I do hope it features in the multiplayer section of Star Wars Battlefront 2 as well as the campaign. Next up, we have some Imperials on what looks like to be a Star Destroyer, or potentially even the Death Star, where you have the ray shield actually covering the entrance where the TIE fighters can fly in and out of. There seems to be no rebels actually inside. Again, this could be from the campaign. I'm not sure if in the space battles in Star Wars Battlefront 2 we can actually enter the capital ships that are in the maps. It would be cool if we could, but at the same time it might take the focus away from the actual space battles. A lot of people might stay inside of the capital ships and prefer to fight in there. I don't really mind which way EA do it. I like space battles. I'm not big on controlling vehicles in Star Wars Battlefront. I do prefer to play on the ground, but at the same time I think space battles could be great, and with capital ships in there, it's just really making space battles something that everybody really wanted it to be. So this concept art coming on the screen now is actually from Naboo Theed. This concept art also features an AAT tank, which is actually a droid tank which everybody wanted to see, considering that Clone Wars has been announced for Star Wars Battlefront 2. A lot of people are really excited to play as droids, and I really am as well. I really like the look of the droids in the art that we have seen for Star Wars Battlefront 2. I think droids versus clones again is going to be absolutely fantastic to see. It's been a while and they were missed in the current Star Wars Battlefront. A lot of people wanted the Clone Wars and droids and clone troopers, but now we're actually going to be getting that, and especially on Theed, I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to play the map. I can't wait to play as droids and clone troopers. I do hope there is a lot of customization for the clone troopers, but I guess we'll have to wait and see when EA and DICE actually release more details on Star Wars Battlefront 2, or at least some footage of what the customization might be. Next up, we have some concept art of the Imperial Raider class Corvette, which is our main character's ship in the Star Wars Battlefront 2 campaign. So this is actually from the Star Wars Battlefront 2 campaign. This is concept art about the campaign. There's TIE fighters, there's X-Wings, there's Imperial Star Destroyers, there's everything you would really want, and this looks like a really ferocious battle in space, or even an atmosphere of a planet. I think this could be Jakku, I'm not sure. Jakku does look like it features in the Star Wars Battlefront 2 reveal trailer, so I do expect to see some part of the campaign take place on Jakku, or at least above Jakku. Next we have the concept art from Kamino, which features the Slave One. attacking Obi-Wan's Delta 7's Jedi Starfighter. This looks like it could have even taken place in Attack of the Clones. The concept art is just absolutely stunning, like I've said before. And because these two ships are actually in this concept art, it doesn't mean that Jango Fett and Obi-Wan will be heroes in Star Wars Battlefront. I do hope they are heroes in Star Wars Battlefront. Obi-Wan is the hero that I want to see most alongside Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars Battlefront 2, but I guess we'll have to wait and see if those heroes do feature in the game. Judging from this concept art though, it looks like we could get some form of fighter squadron that takes place around the Kamino clone facility, which would be really cool and interesting to see. There would definitely be a lot of places to hide and weave in between with your starfighters, so I think it could really make a great map. This next concept art is quite interesting because it looks like it's actually from Mos Eisley, and it looks like there's a lot of sort of shop stalls lining the streets as Imperial Stormtroopers charge down it. If you remember back to Star Wars Battlefront and Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original ones, the Mos Eisley map was pretty boring. There was a lot of buildings that you could go in and out of, but there wasn't really anything lining the streets. So once you got out into those streets, you were very open and exposed, where this makes it look like there is a lot of market stalls lying around in Mos Eisley, so they will act as cover. It will make the gameplay pretty interesting because it's going to add a bit more sort of variation to how you play Mos Eisley rather than just charging down an empty street, firing your blaster at whatever comes your way. Next up, we have clone troopers using jump packs actually fighting on Kamino while the Slave One seems to be under attack or going to attack the clone gunships which are in the air. You have seen them. They were some of my favourites in the original Star Wars Battlefront games, so to see them return, especially on Kamino with clone troopers, is just absolutely great. It's really like a dream come true to see this happening. Even if it's just in concept art, I do hope this happens in the game, where we can fly clone gunships and act as clones on Kamino. Next up is some First Order Stormtroopers on Jakku who look like they're about to ambush some rebels or some unexpected troops. I don't know what type of troops they are. And the way they're hiding behind cover makes me think that this could actually be from the campaign. But at the same time, the Inferno squad isn't there, so it makes me think it could be multiplayer as well, or even just concept art to kind of go off for designing multiplayer maps or parts of the campaign for Star Wars Battlefront 2. It's interesting to see the First Order Stormtroopers on Jakku, because in the current Star Wars Battlefront we only got to play as original trilogy Stormtroopers and Rebels on Jakku, so I'm really excited to play as the First Order Stormtroopers. And it'll be interesting to see whether this actually takes place in the campaign or in the multiplayer, if we can use cover in a new way in the multiplayer section of Star Wars Battlefront 2. Next up we have what looks like some sort of strafe run by TIE fighters on Jakku. Again, this looks like a more sort of built up area of Jakku. There was quite a bit of cover in the Jakku maps on the current Star Wars Battlefront, but there was definitely not as much as this. You've even got sort of roof over your head here with some debris from potentially Star Destroyers, and what looks like to be some form of like tank in the middle there which the TIE fighter is shooting at, and that the First Order Stormtroopers, I think, are heading towards. I'm not quite sure what that will be. Maybe this is part of the campaign. Maybe that sort of vehicle in the middle there is something that the Inferno squad is after. But we will have to wait and see until more details and gameplay and things like that is actually shown for Star Wars Battlefront 2. Next up we have a crashed Star Destroyer on what I think is Jakku. It would make sense. There is a lot of crashed Star Destroyers on Jakku. And this looks pretty similar to the multiplayer map we currently have in Star Wars Battlefront, so this could be another Jakku Graveyard of Giants type map in Star Wars Battlefront 2, or it could again be part of the campaign. Maybe the Battle of Jakku is one of the starting missions for the Star Wars Battlefront 2 campaign, since it takes place shortly after the destruction of the second Death Star. Maybe we will get to control Iden Versio and control the Inferno squad as they storm Jakku, looking for rebels who they may think have destroyed the Death Star. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how Jakku plays out in the campaign, as well as in the multiplayer section. The final piece of concept art is a concept art that people love to see, and that is of the Tauntauns on Hoth. You can see the rebel on the right using Han Solo's pistol, as well as seeing a snow speeder heading towards one of the AT-ATs. The rebel on the Tauntaun under the AT-AT looks like he's actually throwing down some sort of bomb there, which is leaving his left hand Maybe it's to try and stop the Walker, but the Walker looks like it's getting close to what I can only assume is Echo Base. So it will be pretty cool to see Echo Base and Hoth return in Star Wars Battlefront 2. I'd like to see Walker Assault actually return. I think Walker Assault was a great game mode, and it was probably one of my favourite game modes, to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie about that. So I do hope to see it return in some form in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Let me know down in the comments section below what you think about these concept arts and what you can't wait to see most of in Star Wars Battlefront 2. What are you most excited for, and what do you hope is in the game the most? Make sure to smash like on this video if you have enjoyed it, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to join the Aurora Alliance and be kept up to date with all things Star Wars Battlefront 2, as well as other Star Wars games. Other than that, may the Force be with you.